Alright guys, so here we go. I'm about to jump in this E-Ray. So, first time in an E-Ray. Obviously, real quick, I guess to recap, this is obviously a 2024 Seawolf Gray. He's got the silver stripes on it. It is a convertible. And he's got the brushed wheels, I think they were called, polished. They didn't want to call them chrome, but they're basically chrome. Looks like gray calipers kind of to go with the Seawolf Gray. Of course, all of them come with carbon ceramic rotors, but that's pretty much the options here. So we heard earlier he has the Corsa exhaust, and the accents here are painted body color. There's no carbon flash. So let's go ahead and see what this thing's all about. So this screen's a little different. I do like the fact that it shows the actual car. Like if you have a Stingray, it shows a Stingray. Z06, it shows a Z06. One thing I'm not really a big fan of is the convertible tops, man. My head is like right there, and I have the seat all the way down. It's not a taller person's car, I guess. But anyway, let's see what we got here. So if we put the foot on the brake and press the start button, that does start it up like a normal car, or a normal Corvette, I should say. So I haven't really driven a car yet with the 2024 update on the infotainment system yet either, so this is all kind of new. This is the button he was referring to down here though, for the actual regenerative braking. I'm probably gonna leave that off because I'm interested in the performance aspect of this thing, not so much saving gas. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it into sport. Exhaust gets a little louder. We get a little animation here, which is kind of cool. I'm gonna actually go ahead and shut this off, because I want to see if we can get some sort of stealth thing going on here, because I want to kind of focus on what makes this thing different. All right, so foot on brake, and then we're going to turn the knob down here, and we should get, there we go. So this is what we're waiting for here. So it's not letting me put into stealth because I don't have my seatbelt on yet. So very cool. Wants to make sure everybody's safe. Safety first, guys. And yeah, with the seatbelt on, now I have the option. We can go to shuttle, normal. Of course, if you hit normal, the car's going to start up. Stealth is going to allow you to do what we did pulling out of here earlier with Andrew, where we kind of drove up to like 40 miles an hour before the engine came on. And then, of course, shuttle is going to let you go up to, I think it's at 15 miles an hour, but it will never turn on the engine, basically. So, yeah, we're going to go with stealth initially here because I like the idea of that, because it's different. So I just got out of the car to take some pictures, probably the thumbnail of this video, and when I got back in, it's still waiting for me to select this mode. So obviously I have to put on my seatbelt again for that to light up, but pretty cool. You can just kind of step out and get right back in, and it's ready to go again. Anyway, we selected stealth, and then all you do after you select stealth is you press the start button as if you were starting the car, and this is what you're presented with. So from here, we'll go ahead and just put it into drive like normal. I thought that was Andrew with my Z06 for a second. I was gonna be like, whoa, but no, seriously. So we're in drive, and we're able to start driving here. So as soon as Andrew rolls up on me, we're gonna follow right behind him. But again, guys, check out that view in the side view mirror there. That looks freaking awesome. What a beastly car the Z06 is. We're gonna follow Andrew because, like I said to him, I have no idea where I'm at, and it just makes it easier. All right, here he comes. So we're gonna roll out right behind him.
Ready to rock?
We're good.
Okay.
Here we go. So first time for him in a Z06, first time for me in an E-Ray. One of these cars is much louder than the other one right now. Listen to this. How freaking weird is that? And even on the heads-up display, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it tells you what mode you're in. There goes the front end lift going up, which is still able to happen obviously on battery power. And we're gonna have to take this turn a little differently here. So let's go ahead and do this. There we go. Listen to that. That's freaking wild. I think I'm gonna actually drive it like this. I'm gonna drive it like this for a minute and see how long we can drive it like this until the power kicks in. Like, at what point does it just automatically come on that I'm not even aware that it's coming on? So we're 30, 32, 35 miles an hour. To see whenever it just comes on, it'll probably scare the crap out of me, but we still haven't even really needed the engine power yet. This is freaking awesome. This is cool. What an interesting vehicle. GM really is doing it right with these cars. The Corvettes in general are just so radically different. Like, even one of Andrew's workers, while we were standing there waiting for all this to go down, he said, you know, it's weird how much they look the same, but at the same time very different. GM did a really good job at differentiating the E-Ray, because it does have obviously the same body and everything as the Z06, but still looks different. We still haven't activated that engine yet. Just rolling around town in an electric freaking Corvette. This is the future, I guess. So, obviously, you guys know I'm a pretty big fan of that car right there in front of us. The C8 Z06 is just a freaking beast. I love the way it sounds, so I would not really love this mode. It's just, I'm intrigued by it because it's different. So that's why I'm making a big deal out of it. But at the end of the day, I still prefer the sound of the Z06, or the sound of really any V8 engine over the electric thing. But yeah, just rolling around town here. I'm literally right behind Andrew, and I still have not had a reason, or the car hasn't had a reason to turn on the engine yet. So it's going to come on at some point. Yeah, you know, interestingly enough, I can feel the extra weight in the front of this car. Just going around that turn just at 20 miles an hour, you can feel the extra weight. It's pretty significant. There's an extra weight on the front of this car for sure. And I mean, I already knew that with the, obviously with the battery being right here in the center tunnel and up on the wheels, the motors being up on the wheels. So obviously there is some added weight to this car, but you can actually feel it in the turns, especially since I drove that from the Pittsburgh area, which is about 3.5 hours to where I'm at now. So I'm very familiar with that car specifically today. So the extra weight in this car is very noticeable in the turns. All right, here we go. We're about to get on the highway. So this thing should come to life here in a second. There it is. Very cool. The transition there, you literally don't even feel it. Wow, very, 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 very cool. Very cool, very cool. I like that a lot. This car is definitely different. The power comes on earlier, but fades off obviously a lot faster than it does on the Z06. I like it. I like it. It's different. That's the thing, is it's like, I couldn't tell you for sure that it's not as fast. It feels about as quick, but I can definitely feel the extra heft on the front end of this car. Even just a little bit that I'm doing now, I can feel the extra heft. And I don't love that, but at the same time, that extra power that you're getting from the torque in the car, you don't necessarily feel it too much, not regular driving anyway. But if you're on a track, I could see this being kind of an issue. Now this, in Chevy's defense, this is not reported as a track car, so now the suspension is significantly softer in this car, significantly softer than it is on the Z06. I bet you Andrew comments on that in the Z06 as well, because it is much stiffer in the Z06. That is really surprising. It is a gigantic difference. Let's go ahead and go into sport mode, get a little bit more volume out of this guy. I'd like for this person in front of me to go away. Let's drop a gear. There we go. I really do like that hybrid sound that they add in to the battery. It's actually pretty cool. I like it a lot. And you can see the electric power up there at the top left, kind of telling you where you're at as far as all the power of the battery and how much it's actually applying to the wheels. So you can see it's at 25 horsepower right now, but when you smash the gas, that thing jumps up. So yeah, guys, initial thoughts here are the car's pretty quick. I can feel the weight difference in the front. The suspension is significantly softer than it is in the Z06. Turning wise, it feels about the same. The wheels, obviously the tires and wheels are very similar to the Z06. Let's see, it looks like Andrew might be going for a pull here in a second. Yep. There he goes. Let's do the same thing. Yeah, you know what? I do actually feel the difference. This is definitely not as fast as the Z06. Now, obviously, from a launch, we're talking about something different. But for just, you know, driving 30 miles an hour and smashing the gas, the Z06 definitely has a quicker pickup. So, definitely interesting stuff. I'm being surprised on a lot of different steps of the way here, because I really didn't think, number one, I really didn't think I was going to like this car very much, but I actually do. I like it a lot, and I think it has an interesting spot in between the Stingray and the Z06 lineup. My only concern with it is price. I think the E-Ray is priced a little higher than it should be, and if it was priced a little bit less, I think they'd have quite the seller on their hands. So, we'll see. But, yeah, hearing that battery winding down, that's so cool. Just, it's a neat piece of technology. And if you guys don't know, I have a very heavy tech background, so this kind of stuff is, yeah, this kind of stuff is right up my alley. God, look how freaking wide that car looks in front of us, though. It's so freaking menacing. I love that Z06. It's such a good car. I'm really curious to see what Andrew's thoughts are. So, like I said, getting into the car, guys, my first time driving an E-Ray, and it's his first time driving the Z06. So, we got a lot of firsts happening here. I'm going to see what his thoughts are. Obviously, mine are, this car is pretty cool. I think it's slightly overpriced. It definitely rides much softer than the Z06. So, if you're looking for more of a cruiser kind of vehicle, this is probably your car. The Z06 is a very jarring suspension, so if you're looking to road trip these things, you're definitely going to look at either a Stingray or an E-Ray. But listen to the battery. That's so cool. But I can't get over the flat plane crank sound of the Z06, so you're not going to catch me in an E-Ray anytime soon, but I do feel a little bit better about the E-Ray than I did. I think the car has its spot in GM's lineup. Like I said, just if GM would have come out with this car and it was $10,000 less than what it actually is, I think it would have fit perfectly in their lineup. I think this car is about $10,000 overpriced for what you're getting, because at the end of the day, it is basically a wide body Stingray with a battery. That's pretty much my take on it. Again, I do see its line where it fits in the lineup and stuff, and I can see why certain people would buy this over the Stingray, but at the same time, I don't see, at the given price of this vehicle, I don't see why anybody would buy this car over the Z06 unless you just can't get a Z06, which is definitely kind of an issue nowadays. Yeah, listen to that thing. Heck yeah. Kind of sounds like a freaking race car. But anyway, guys, yeah, the price of this is what really turns me off of it. I think for the price not being much less than a Z06, I would just get a Z06. Again, though, the suspension on this car is unbelievably soft. This feels, these roads don't feel jarring at all. In my Z06, I was just like bouncing around. So again, if you're not looking for that sport tuned suspension, the Z06 is definitely not your car. The E-Ray definitely is. So yeah, guys, this thing is definitely, it's an interesting vehicle. I really enjoyed my time with it here. I'm gonna step out and we're gonna talk to Andrew here in a second, because I'm curious what his thoughts are. One other thing I just noticed while we were driving here is the suspension is very, 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 very much so softer than the Z06. But another thing is, the shifts, the way this transmission shifts is ridiculously soft compared to the Z06. The Z06 is like bangs into gear. This one, I can almost barely feel it shift. So, yeah, I mean, you're definitely looking at the two different cars built for two very different purposes. The Z06 is, the transmission is going to bang into those gears a lot harder and a lot faster to maintain that speed through turns and everything, whereas the E-Ray is not really built for the track, so it doesn't have to do that same kind of thing. It can make a smoother transition through the gears, and still quickly, of course, but it is definitely softer. The transmission shifts smoother. The suspension is definitely softer. We're in sport mode right now. The suspension is in sport mode right now, and this is still way softer than the Z06 in touring mode. So even the transmission should be shifting a little bit harder in sport mode, and it's still a lot softer than the Z06 in touring mode. So again, just something to keep in mind. If you guys are looking at getting an E-Ray, you might want to keep these kind of things in mind, because this might be what makes or breaks this car for you. And then of course the E-Ray performance screen over here kind of showing us the engine output, electric output, all that stuff. So we can actually go to the dyno, all the data right here on the screen. Pretty interesting. My main concern was how long that took to come up. Let's see if it'll do it again. No, it's immediate now. It took probably a solid 10 seconds to load that. So not really sure what that's about, but you can see we're getting all the numbers here whenever we're starting to accelerate. A little bit of a different setup there because it is the E-Ray. Of course, we got the electric power up here at the top left, and the hybrid battery down there at the bottom left that you're not going to have on any of the other C8 Corvettes. So real quick, guys, I want to show you really the only difference you can really see from the outside here is that extra radiator cooler in there. It's actually for the battery. So the Z06 does not have that, obviously, but other than that, and I mean, obviously the differences of this specific E-Ray, that's really the only thing that stands out of the differences between the wide bodies. So other than that, you're not really able to tell. Like, if this thing was done up to look like a Z06, it would be impossible to tell by looking at this car that it was an E-Ray outside of that. You're gonna always notice that. So yeah, you could very easily make this look just like that. So that thing is the only thing that's gonna be the difference. But yeah, what'd you think? So we'll give this like a Cliff's Notes, because if you guys really want to see all of this stuff, check out CSP's channel.
So I think that they're both excellent cars, and they both have really strong areas. I mean, the Z06 is a little bit faster. Like, yeah, from a roll, for sure, the Z06 pulls away. Yeah. From a dig, that thing's going to just murder it. It's just, I mean, that's just traction. Like,
so I got to ask, because the biggest thing I noticed, what do you think of the suspension?
That was really comfortable, actually.
Really?
I thought it was really comfortable. At least I was driving around in tour mode most of the time, and I thought, wow, this is really comfortable. I think that they're roughly the same. I don't know if
not even close, man.
You think
this is like riding on pillows compared to that. That thing was beating me up coming in here.
You know what?
I said, I was like, this thing, I could like fall asleep behind the wheel.
I was thinking that this might be a little bit more comfortable than that. So that's like really funny. That
is hilarious.
This is probably just like, they're probably exactly the same.
No, this is a different suspension. It's the softer one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I thought that was softer. So
that's so funny. I even said on the camera, I was like, watch, she's going to think it was softer. But meanwhile, that is definitely, that car beats you up. I mean, I spent 4 hours in that car today, so.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. Like, it was,
all right, so.
For some reason, like, so in track mode, I feel like I don't know, I feel a little bit more confident in corners in this.
Really?
I don't know if it's the all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Or what. Like, I feel like I can press this in a corner like a lot harder than I can press that, even though I know you can press that in corners.
Right.
And I know that this thing performs.
Could it be just because it's not your car?
It could,
right.
Certainly be that.
So how about, the only other thing that I really noticed the difference between these two was, in my opinion, the suspension was much softer here. I was in sport mode, and sport mode in this is still softer than tour mode is in that. In my opinion, I'm honestly surprised you don't think so. But
I didn't think so.
How about the transmission? Did that feel like it shifted harder than the E-Ray?
It depends on the mode, I think. Like when I was in tour mode, it was shifting so smooth. It was just like, this is smooth as butter.
Okay. And then, I spend my time in sport mode, so maybe that's why. But yeah, in sport mode, in my opinion, this thing shifts way softer.
Yeah, I think, well, in track mode, like some of the stuff, because I eventually just put it in track mode, some of the shift points were like, it would get you a little bit.
Yeah.
Like but it wasn't, nothing ever felt hateful on it. I don't think there's anything like hateful on either of these. Like that was my, GM.
The Stingray was like,
made them different.
Yeah. And it's like, if you want a car, like if you want a good grand touring car, something you're just going to drive states all the time, the Stingray is your car. If you want something for the track, the Z06. If you want something in between that can kind of do both, E-Ray. And it's like, it is unbelievable how good GM did this, because I felt like I was in almost a totally different car than that one. And it's strange because obviously you're sitting in a car that looks identical, but it felt completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I don't know. I felt like yours was softer.
I was going to say, I'm going to have to do some research now, because I swear this car is so much softer than that one, but I got to find out now if it's a different suspension. I'm pretty sure it is.
But the suspension on this car is not as stiff as the Z06, but it is slightly stiffer than a Z51. But the suspension on this car is not as stiff as the Z06.
I appreciate you letting us come out and do this. I mean, I say us, I mean me and my camera. Right. So thank you for that. But
I do the same thing. I talk about like how we're here doing this. It's just me. It's me and the people in my head.
There you go. I got my camera and a mouse in my pocket. How about that? But that's pretty much it, guys. That's my take on it. So if you want to hear his, check out their channel, because he's going to have obviously a different take, because he thinks my car's softer than this. I don't know. We'll find out. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. If you liked what you saw, please smash that thumbs up button. Like I said in the review of the car, I kind of felt like the car was pretty soft. It did, the suspension felt a little bit softer than the Z06, but of course I'm going to do some research when I get home on that as to whether or not it is a different suspension. Could just be because I'm in someone else's car and his car is brand new, so we'll see. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for an E-Ray, hopefully this video helped you out, because these cars are kind of hard to find right now, and I wanted to kind of have you live vicariously through me, basically. And hopefully you liked what you saw. If you did, thumbs up, always helps. And as usual, guys, stay obsessed.
More intricate things of the stealth or shuttle mode is you get the hybrid sound, the Jetsons hybrid sound.
Yeah, there it is.
People like this. I don't. It gets.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's actually pretty loud.